Two of my friends, Mark, 33, and Jess, 28, never came back from the Grand Canyon. People talk about the Grand Canyon like it's just a scenic lookout with a railing. No, it's a vast city-sized chasm in the earth that devours people. That place has more missing reports than any other national park. According to Google, over 1,000 people have vanished there, but most say they died from dehydration, falls, or heat stroke. That's the standard explanation. Yet I saw something haul a human body uphill as if it was weightless. Look, I'm not claiming all those disappearances are because of that creature. I don't know, but what I filmed was terrifying. So I won't show you the footage right away. First, you need to hear what actually happened and how it all started. That's the part nobody wants to hear. So I'll begin with this. We were 4 when we went down there, but only 2 of us came back. I've watched that video so many times now that I can't sleep without hearing that dragging sound. Before all this, I wasn't some crazy monster hunter. I wasn't into message boards or conspiracy theories. I was 32, working at a garage in Flagstaff, doing brakes, pumps, electrical issues, AC recharges. I wasn't a survivalist or anything like that, but I hiked. Living up there, you kind of have to. The canyon's right there. We'd go on weekends, talk trash about tourists with white sneakers and no water. That was me. The 4 of us. Me, Danny, who was 29 at the time, the other survivor, then Mark, 33, and Jess, 28. We'd all done overnight trails before. Nothing extreme. Mark was the guy always pushing farther, ego intact, carrying more weight than anyone else, and wanting you to see it. Jess was the planner, carrying a notebook, printed maps, always telling us to drink water before we got thirsty, warning us when something was stupid. Danny was just Danny, lightening the mood when tension started to build. Now, understand how crazy this sounds to me too, because these weren't people who just wandered off. That's what we were told later, that they wandered off like kids in a grocery store. We planned that trip for weeks. Rim to Inner Canyon, camp out, record footage, make memories. One of those, we're getting older but we're not dead yet kind of trips. You see the missing persons flyers at the ranger station, faces on weathered paper, last seen dates. I remember looking at one worn, curling at the edges thinking, that's messed up. They leave it up like a decoration. But I get now why they do. It's not for respect. It's a warning label. We joked about it standing there. That was the sick part. Danny pointed at one flyer and said, "Hey Mark, that's you. Get your good side ready." Mark flexed like an idiot for the camera. Jess told us to shut up because an older couple was giving us a look. I filmed that. I still have that clip. I can watch my friends laugh before everything changed. If I'd known what was coming, we wouldn't have gone. And I know everyone says that, but I mean it. We shouldn't have gone. I thought the danger was heat, cliffs, dehydration. I never imagined the danger was something that could pick you up and walk away with you. We went down in late September. Important because people associate Arizona with summer. But this wasn't tourist season. On the rim that morning, it was cool, almost hoodie weather. The second you drop into the canyon, the temperature hits you like an oven. Not just hot, but dry. So dry you don't notice how fast you're losing water until you stand up and your vision blurs. People die from that all the time. Rangers warn you about it. They never warn you about anything else. Early on, something bothered me. We weren't even deep yet when we found a boot, off to the side of the trail. A good hiking boot. Mid-weight, not some cheap Walmart pair. Looked like it had been there maybe a day. No blood, no drag marks, no torn laces, no broken branches. Just sitting there, as if someone vanished out of it. Denny said, "Cannon tacks?" and brushed it aside. Jess didn't like that. She said, "That's not funny, man," and took a picture. Mark said, "People drop stuff all the time," and kept moving. That detail sticks with me. The idea that pieces of people could be just left behind in that place. That first night, we didn't even make it to the spot we planned. Mark pushed too hard during the heat window, and Jess started to slow down. You can't leave someone behind, especially in that heat, so we called it and set up camp in a dry wash under a small overhang. Rock behind us, some scrub brush, nothing fancy. It felt smart, protected, like we knew what we were doing. But I think that's when it started. Not when it saw us, but when it decided to test us. We heard coyotes early in the night. High-pitched yipping, normal for the area. But after midnight, there was something else. It wasn't a howl. It was lower, heavier, with weight, like the rumble of a diesel engine idling in a closed garage but stretched long and deep. It echoed strangely. Wrong. The canyon's echoes usually bounce, shift. But this sound just slid along the rocks. Danny said, "Hell no, that's not a dog." When he got serious, that was new. Jess recorded it on her phone saying, "That's not wind." She wasn't scared yet. She was just labeling it, trying to make sense of it. Like everyone does at first, boxing in the unknown. Then we started hearing rocks rolling, small stones, kicked loose without care, as if someone above us was intentionally tossing them down. And then, the moment I should have called it, when I should have said, "Let's go," happened. Jess swept her light toward the ridge and I saw eyes up there. Too far apart, too high off the ground, not animal glow. They narrowed, annoyed, like they didn't want us there. I convinced myself they were deer, said probably deer, to keep her calm like I knew what I was talking about. I didn't. I just didn't want her scared. That regret eats me alive. The next morning, we acted like everything was normal. We packed up, sweating before 9 a.m. Mark was in a bad mood, annoyed that we hadn't reached his perfect camp spot. He pushed the pace, and by midday, Jess was getting lightheaded. We were already rationing water, more than we'd planned, because the canyon does that. You think you packed enough, but you didn't. We started snapping at each other. Short, tired jabs. Danny told Mark to slow down. Mark told Danny to stop babying Jess. She kept telling everyone to shut up because arguing just burns more water and air. I told Mark we were stopping in the shade, whether he liked it or not. He rolled his eyes, looked at me and said, "I'll check the pass. It's right there. If it's decent, we move. If not, we stay." It was a narrow squeeze point between two rocks, about 50 yards ahead, maybe less. That was the last time I saw Mark alive. Listen, I'm not saying he wandered off and we never saw him again. I'm saying we followed him within minutes. We called for him, first casually, then louder. Danny yelled his name. I started thinking maybe he fell, twisted an ankle. I rushed forward, heart pounding, turned that same corner, and it was just empty. It should have opened into a small basin with a split in the rocks. Instead, it felt wrong. Like the air was sealed, heavy, hotter than shade should be, like standing inside someone's mouth. Mark wasn't there. No footprints, no drops, no blood, no torn fabric, just a couple of boot marks that suddenly stopped, as if he walked into a wall that wasn't there. People talk about panic like it's quick. No, it's slow at first. It's math. You start doing timelines in your head. He was here 30 seconds ago. He's not here now. That 30 seconds doesn't get you far. It's not enough to get away, so you yell. You yell until your throat hurts and then silence falls. Heavy, suffocating. Jess is trembling. Danny's swearing. I keep shouting, "Stay together. Nobody split up." Somehow I just blurted that out. Didn't even decide to. I marked the spot with red tape from my kit, wrote down the time, 11:40, my sweat-streaked, dust-covered watch wiped on my shirt to see. I did everything I was supposed to do. But even doing everything right doesn't guarantee bringing your people home. Nobody tells you that part. We stayed close the rest of the day. Nobody slept that night. Danny kept saying, "He's got to be close." He kept repeating, "He's got to be close," over and over, as if saying it enough times would make it true. Jess started crying silently, her hands trembling over her mouth, trying to muffle her sobs so whatever was out there wouldn't hear her. And I knew something was out there, because what happened next confirmed it. Before the sun even rose, she announced she was going to hike back toward the main trail to get a signal and report what we'd seen. It wasn't a foolish idea. We weren't that far off course. She said, "You guys stay here in case he circles back, and I'll be able to see you the whole way. I'm not going far." We all agreed. We could see the ridge she was heading toward, the exact line she'd take. I watched her walk, maybe 60 yards, maybe less, around a slow curve of rock. Then just like that, she was gone. No scream, no tumble, no help. She was there. Then, in an instant, we lost sight of her for maybe 3 seconds, and she was gone. I took off running. Danny ran with me. Adrenaline makes you do stupid things. We left our packs behind and sprinted along the path she took. I cleared that curve expecting to see her crouched, tying her boot, waving at us, maybe annoyed that we chased her. But nothing. And this is the part I still can't say out loud in front of certain people without trembling. There was a mark in the dust. Not a body print or a sign of someone falling. It was a drag line. One long, heavy drag, like something heavy had been pulled uphill, and it didn't go downhill. It went up as if something stronger than Danny and me together had grabbed her and just walked uphill, hauling her like baggage. I watched it with my own eyes. I swear it just faded away. Not hitting bare rock and disappearing, I mean it got lighter, like whoever or whatever was pulling her just stopped, leaving a trail of exposed ground as if it had begun carrying her instead of dragging. I remember Danny's hands. Those details will stay with me forever. His hands were trembling so badly he couldn't even zip his pocket. All he kept whispering was, "No, no, 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 no." Quiet, like a kid. We had no choice but to leave. People judge me for that, but I don't care. We were out of water, exhausted, unarmed. We got out because if we hadn't, nobody would even know where to start looking. When we finally found a ranger, I couldn't even speak properly. My tongue felt like cardboard. My lips were cracked and I tasted metal. Dehydration, if you've never experienced it that bad. I sat on the cooler in the ranger station, shaking for what felt like 5 minutes. We told them everything. They nodded, took notes, and smiled, except it wasn't really a smile. They flew a helicopter over the area in the middle of the day, under the bright sun. They checked the obvious spots, promised to send someone. They told me that heat exhaustion kills more people there than falls, and that it happens fast. People get disoriented and wander off trail. They looked me in the eye and said that. I told them she was just in sight. Something dragged her uphill. They glanced at each other. One scribbled something down, and one said, "You've been under extreme stress. That can scramble your memory. You'd be surprised." Then he casually added, "We say this every season. 2 healthy adults vanish within a couple 100 yards of camp with no sound, no scream. It's just normal for this canyon." Later, in official reports, they called it a probable fall. That's the lie. That's when something inside me finally broke. If this was a movie, that's where the credits would roll and everyone would argue about what really happened. But it wasn't over, because after that, the guilt hits hard. Think about calling 2 families telling them we lost them, or sitting with a sister trying to say we don't have a body yet, and watching her face struggle to process that. Missing people are worse than dead. Dead's final, but missing is a door that never closes. You hear a knock at 3 a.m. and you wonder if it's them. I didn't sleep. Danny didn't sleep. We kept replaying everything, over and over. We sat in my living room with maps spread out, dehydrated food bags untouched on the table, because touching anything that reminded us of them felt like acceptance. That's when Danny said, "We go back." I said, "No." He argued we should notify SAR, get a proper search going. He was right. We were just a paperwork problem, not a real emergency. They'd run the usual search, call it heat exhaustion, and move on to the next tourist who fell off a lookout for a selfie. He kept saying, "We go back. With cameras. We get proof. We get them back. Or we get proof." That word, proof, hooked into me without me realizing it. Proof is addicting. Proof gets you through the night, makes everything seem logical again. If you can prove it, you're not crazy. So, yeah, we returned. I wish I could say we told our families and had backup, but we lied. We told everyone we were doing a routine closure hike. Say goodbye so nobody would stop us. We prepared differently this time. Cheap trail cams, motion-activated infrared, extra batteries and SD cards, a satellite beacon, headlamps, not just handheld lights. We weren't messing around anymore. When we drove back near the south rim, the same woman at the gas station recognized us. She didn't smile, didn't ask how it went. She just said, "You boys don't want to go back down there?" Like it was a warning, not a joke. I should have listened. You know how the first time you go somewhere, it feels vast. The second time, you know the lines better, but it's heavier. Like walking into a room after a fight. It's like the canyon remembers us. And here's the messed up part. We found our old camp. Fire pit. The spot Jess sat with her notebook. Danny just stood there staring at the ground, not stepping on it as if it was a grave. We set up the cameras in a grid. One pointed at the slope above camp, one in the squeeze where Mark disappeared, and one along the wash where we'd heard that deep sound. The first night, we played it like in the search videos, trying to act like we knew what we were doing, but we were shaking the whole time. It started again fast. The knocking, those sharp rhythmic strikes, weren't natural, not random rocks falling. It was like wood on wood, but with sharp, deliberate hits. Knock, pause, pause, knock, knock, pause, knock. At first, Danny whispered, "That's just rock shifting." Then he said, "No, wait. Listen, it's answering itself." And he was right. The echoes bounced strangely, like one knock was up the canyon, and the reply down below, communicating. We also caught a smell, something nobody tells you about. It wasn't just visual. It was thick in the air, like river mud left too long. Wet rot, burnt hair. You could taste it in the back of your throat. Denny started whispering, "It's here, it's here, it's here," over and over. His hand over his mouth, eyes wide and watering. I'd never seen him like that. That wasn't fear. That was prey. We kept the fire low. After that, we didn't talk. We heard slow, heavy steps outside the firelight. Deliberate, weighty, not a bear's gait, step, scrape, step. No, it was step, pause, weight shift, like a tall person. We didn't see it that night, but I know it saw us. It was circling slowly around our tent, just outside the view, letting us know we weren't alone, but not rushing us. That patience, that's what haunted me most. The second night, everything finally broke open. Around 2 a.m., the canyon went completely silent. You don't realize how deafening silence can be until everything suddenly stops at once. Crickets, wind, even the faint scratching of bugs and brush, all vanished. It was like someone hit mute on the world. I woke up because of that. Not from a noise, but from no noise at all. Sitting in the tent, I couldn't even hear Danny breathing for a moment. That's how profound the silence was. Then I heard it, dragging. At first it was soft. Shh. I thought I was dreaming. Honestly, I believe my mind was just replaying Jess's voice in my head. But then it got louder. Shh. Pause. Weight shifting. Shh. I unzipped the tent just enough to peek out without turning on my light. I didn't want it to see me. I watched the darkness. Nothing was there, but the sound kept going, passing beyond our camp, moving uphill like someone hauling a deer carcass. Except deer don't wear pants. I don't remember deciding to get out of the tent. I just did. I grabbed a small trail cam viewer, one of those handheld devices where you can pop in an SD card, and stumbled barefoot toward the first camera we'd set. My hands trembled so badly it took me 3 tries to open the latch. I slid in the card, scrolled through footage with my thumb, and saw it. This is the part everyone leans in for. This is the part they ask, what did it look like? I still don't have an answer. I only know what it did. The footage is grainy, black and white because of the infrared. You can hear grit hitting the mic in the dark. Then, the motion trigger activates, and the camera illuminates that sickly gray-white.
Upright, broad-shouldered, wider than any man I know in real life, arms long enough that the hands nearly touch its knees. Its head is low, forward-leaning. No face is visible, just bulk and movement. It's not running, not rushing, just moving steadily as if this is normal Tuesday business. And that's when my stomach dropped out. It has an ankle, human, visible through the pant leg and shoe. The rest of the body drags behind, dead weight. Shirt riding up, arms flopped out, head thrown back. I can't see the face from the angle, but the way the neck is bent, it looks like a body being hauled, not someone walking along pretending for a joke. And it's just walking uphill, effortlessly, like the weight isn't real, like dragging a bag of laundry. I felt sick. My throat clenched, like I was about to vomit. My mind kept telling me, nope, that's a prank. It's a ranger in a suit. But my body knew better. My body knew that was real mass, the movement of something heavy. Then it came back. The second clip, about 4 minutes later on the timestamp. This time it's dragging something else, smaller, lighter. One arm this time, not the ankle. The wrist hangs limply in its fist. The body bumps over rocks, limp, catching and rolling. The head is thrown back, mouth open. I swear to you, I think it was Jess. I can't prove it, but the shirt looked like hers. A teal sun shirt she always wore because she burned easily. That's when Danny lost it. He was behind me, watching over my shoulder. He let out a low, broken inhale and started dry heaving. He couldn't stop shaking. We whispered frantically, "No, no, no," like somehow that would rewind it. The worst part isn't even the bodies. It's how calm that thing is. It's not frantic, not worried about being seen. It's just retrieving. Like we'd shot 2 deer out of season, and it's cleaning up as if we'd left meat in its freezer. I don't remember packing up. I don't remember deciding to leave. My brain was in survival mode. I just saw Danny shoving gear into his pack, trembling, while I tore the SD cards from the cameras and stuffed them into my pockets, anywhere I could hide them. We left the camp a mess. That's not what you're supposed to do. We didn't care. We just ran. And I swear to you, as we hiked out, I felt eyes on the back of my neck, like heat from a grill. Every few minutes we'd hear rocks shifting above us. Something pacing parallel to us, higher up the slope. Never running, just keeping pace. Then, just before dawn, the canyon turned and the moonlight hit a pale rock wall. I looked up and saw its silhouette, tall, broad, with long arms. The shape was wrong. Your brain tries to label it as a guy in a hoodie, but the proportions don't match. Too much mass in the shoulders, too long in the limbs, head pushed forward, not upright, like its neck came out of the front of its chest. It was standing there watching us leave. It didn't chase, didn't roar, didn't throw things, it just watched. That almost frightened me more. Predators chase, territorial animals charge. This thing wasn't afraid of us at all. It let us go like it had decided who stayed down there and who left alive. We didn't speak during the last mile. We were both crying and neither of us tried to hide it. I've never cried while walking before. That's a strange thing your body does when it's overwhelmed. Tears just run, no sobbing, like all the pressure has to go somewhere. And when we reached the rim and saw other people, normal tourists with clean shirts and little cameras, something inside me snapped. I felt rage. Pure, unfiltered rage. I can't even explain it. It was like standing on top of a grave you didn't know existed. We went straight to the ranger station. We told them we had proof, and what happened next? Just paperwork. No sirens, no rescue teams.
They took our statement again, asked us to hand over one SD card for evidence, because it's about investigative integrity. We were exhausted, trembling, barely able to stand. So, we gave them one card. Not all of them. That was the only smart thing I did that day. I kept a backup. Tanny kept his backup. We didn't tell them that. They never returned the card. They logged Jess and Mark as presumed dead. Likely exposure fall, they called it. Like they just wandered off trail and gave up. Like we didn't show them footage of something walking away with what clearly looked like their bodies. Then they told us, I'm not making this up. You've been through an extreme traumatic event. We strongly suggest you stop watching that footage, because your brain can fill in what it expects to see, especially in low light and fear. So now it's not just that they fell, it's that you imagine the thing carrying them. That's the official story, that's what they filed. I didn't argue, I just sat there staring at the table while that man talked to me like I was drunk. Danny wouldn't speak. He kept his head down, leg bouncing uncontrollably. They released us, like kids after a school fight. That was years ago. I still talk about it. I still see it every time I close my eyes. Danny won't talk anymore. He rarely answers calls. He drinks now. I get it. I don't blame him. The worst thought I carry isn't that something pulled my friends out of that canyon without anyone seeing. It's not even that something down there is strong enough to carry grown adults like trash. It's this. I don't know if that thing killed them. I have no proof of that. All I know is that it moved them. It collected them, like anything left behind. And now every time I see a missing persons poster, I can't help but stop. I don't see a lost hiker who fell. I see inventory. That word lives in my head now. Inventory. Like the canyon keeps what it wants, and it's not done.
I think about Jess that first night, holding her phone, whispering, "That's not wind," trying to label it. I think about Mark, rolling his eyes, saying, "I'll check the pass, I'll be right back," and how quickly a human life can vanish from a place this big, without a scream, a drop of blood, or even a boot print. You want a happy ending. I don't have one. We never got the bodies back. We never got the answers. All we got was a story that fits the paperwork, and I carry that in my mind every day. Every time someone laughs and says Bigfoot, sure, I feel this tightness in my jaw, because I've seen a man carry dead weight. I've dragged an unconscious man before. I know how shoulders lock, how the back strains, how you stumble and curse and have to stop and readjust. That thing in the footage didn't readjust. It didn't stumble. It just moved uphill, smooth and effortless, as if gravity meant nothing. I can't compete with that. I can't fight it. All I can do is say it out loud, in my own words, before someone else rewrites it. Because here's what I believe now. Call me crazy if you want. Those unexplained disappearances they whisper about, the ones with no bodies recovered, chalked up to falls or running away. I think somebody down there is taking people. I believe it's organized. I believe it's patient. It waits, watches, and knows the terrain better than any ranger, hiker, or helicopter. And we got in its way, and it let us go. That's the part that haunts me. Not the screams, because there weren't any. Not the blood, none, not even the dragging sound. It's that moment on the way out, when I looked up at the ridge and saw it standing there in the moonlight, just watching us leave, as if making a decision, as if checking us off a list. Like it was saying, you can tell the story, the others stay here. That's what I live with. That's what I'll carry forever. And if you're thinking of going down there for fun, for content, for some bucket list adventure,
let me tell you what nobody warned us. The canyon is not empty.